They say hunting and fishing can be dated back more than 2 million years. Throughout the years, the historic angler and hunter has steadily evolved into the avid hunter and angler that we know and love today. Welcome to the Outdoor Defiance podcast. As you listen, you will hear comical stories, companies talking about their products, researchers talking about their research, and overall ways to help you become a better outdoorsman. Welcome to today's episode.
Now in this episode we're going to talk about, let me let this motorcycle pass us. Sorry for the background noise if there's a lot, but I'll try to fix it. But we're going to kind of go over our Kansas trip, give a little rundown of what we expected, how it went, what we learned, and stuff like that. If you guys haven't, the video's out, go watch it. A really good little video, little vlog series video. I think it turned out great, but I might be a little biased. But no, so I've introduced you guys Dylan before. This is my brother-in-law. This will probably be the fanciest you see us dressed in a podcast. We're headed to our other brother-in-law's wedding shower. So we decided to jump on and do it while we had an hour and a half and get it knocked out.
Try again.
Try again times 3. So I drew out Kansas muzzleloader, September tag. It's the last 2 weekends of muzzleloader season there. My overall thought of muzzleloaders, it's a love-hate relationship. I hate them. I did hate them. Going in the trip, I told people I hate muzzleloaders. But I think part of that's partial because I never really sat down and messed with the muzzleloader. Never really shot different grains of bullet, different grains of powder. And so when I got drawn out, I made it a point to buy, the three different bullets all the way from 245, and I think it was 295, and then 270 or 275. So 3 different grains of bullets. And then I shoot a Thompson Center Encore, like the Jim Shockey series that he uses, and it's made for long range. So I knew the gun I had was equipped to shoot what I needed to do. So I sat down before the trip, shoot 4 times, clean it, shoot 4 times, and through trial and error, I kind of put together what I started seeing a really good group at 100 yards, which was a 245 grain bullet backed with 150 grain 777 pellet powder. So it'd be 3 pellets, they're 50 grains each. Everyone knows it, they're all over the stores. But anyways, so I switched to that. Love what it did at 100. So I go back to, it's like 198. I couldn't get right to 200 yards where I was shooting. And start shooting. I aimed high, thinking, let's see where it's going to hit. Aimed high. I shoot right where I aimed high at, it hit. It was like an inch lower, and I was like, what in the world? Reload it. Put it on bullseye. Shoot. Hit bullseye. And I was like, holy cow. Growing up, I've always been told, we put 100 grains in, we shoot a little bit heavier bullet, and if it's, get it zeroed in at 100, and then at 150, aim out middle body, 200 yards, aim top the back. After 200, don't even try. Pretty much preached to me my whole life, right? So once I saw that, I was like, okay, it's kind of crazy to think about what I've been told my whole life and learn that. So there's my first lesson learned. Was that a whole helmet?
That was a helmet.
It was a motorcycle helmet on the side of the road. That didn't look too great. But anyways, so I learned that going in the trip. I felt great out to 200, and told them, 200 in, we're golden.
Money.
Yeah. So, and I feel like if you go out there, even going, thinking about Kansas, I'm trying to use my brain before I went, what I was thinking about, and it's what we've talked about. We thought open plains, big draws, gonna blast deer standing out in 3-foot tall grass, and then they'll bed down. What you see, which deer and rut, I'm sure it's a lot like that.
Yeah.
And If not, then I'll learn that. I'll learn not to go back in there. But I know going in the unit we're going in, I knew people that went out there and done great during archery, with tree stands, not spot and stock. So I was like, well, if they can do it, surely I can get 200 yards from a deer. Going in the trip, I kind of set a bar of like 130, 140 inches. Like that's what I think is doable. And, I thought that was from here now, people have hunted the unit, what the pictures I've seen, and just knowing what Kansas is, I was like, oh, 130, 140, that's it. That's where I'm going to stay. So that's kind of what, and then going in the trip, all I knew was Onyx. I was going to go up there and scout, but I didn't have time to drive the 5.5 hours to scout. And then when you got there, everything was so spread apart that the whole day of scouting, I needed to be 3 days up there to even get to look. And that's not even getting to sit there and look over a field. So I decided to go in blind, which I did that in Nebraska. It worked. This is my second time only out of state. Actually, Dylan's first time, so that's pretty cool to get it done. And actually being out of state doing it. That's my second time out of state for deer. I've been out for turkey in Colorado and got it done, and then I've been to South Dakota on a pheasant trip. But so I knew I was going to go up there. Ag fields are everywhere in this unit, so I was like, all right, we're definitely going to hunt ag around it, draws, whatever. So I started scouting on Onyx, pinned a lot of places, and from there I knew, I was like, all right, we're going to be sitting on hills, looking over draws, going to ag fields. So that's all I knew. So that's kind of what I thought, or that's what my mindset going in was: 200 yards, ag fields, and draws. And so what was kind of your thought on it?
Yeah, I was thinking, just like open, just like prairie grass, and just big rolling hills. And I wasn't really expecting like all the crops and the wooded areas that we were sitting in. It was a lot more. And then once I realized that, we're sitting on crops, and there's corn, and there's soybeans, and there's milo, I thought, well, my mind just went to the soybeans.
Yeah.
But the soybeans were kind of pitiful out there.
Yeah, they were already dried. I mean, it was dry out there.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. You think of the rolling hills, this luscious, tall grass everywhere. Now this grass was like, if you found some grass knee high, you were in some thick stuff.
Yeah.
It was almost like we're looking for antelope, not deer, in a lot of the areas. Yeah, that's what I forgot to talk about. That's what I kind of thought about was like soybeans. They're the go-to in September. All you hear is soybean, soybean, soybean. You look at videos on YouTube, soybeans. You look at pictures on Facebook and Instagram, background soybeans. So it's like that's what we're going to. Like we're hunting that. And alfalfa, because I personally love alfalfa. And that's September season. Very nutritional, and it seems like a lot of deer hit it. So that's kind of what we started out as. And that's what the first day I found a place, and it looked like it had some corn in the area, maybe some milo in the area, but I knew the base fields we're going to look over were alfalfa. Mm-hmm. And so I rolled down there. It rained for like 2 days before. And just another surprise factor to me going down there, we hardly saw deer in the roads.
Yeah.
We saw deer in Oklahoma hit Kansas. Like, I don't even think we saw one on the drive.
I don't remember ever seeing any in the ditch or anything.
Not dead, nothing. Like, and that's crazy because in Oklahoma, you see them all the time off the highways. I mean, it's just common. So that's kind of was like a surprise factor to me too. So we get down there Tuesday night, meet Tyler, and we head out. So, or head out Wednesday morning. Kind of had a hard time with some motels, but watch the video, you get the story there. But finally get the hotel, Tyler's there, we show up, get a good night's sleep, roll out that opening morning, pull up, a truck, as soon as we hit the dirt road, which that's crazy, the dirt roads down there are nicer than Oklahoma, man. Like, yeah. I was cruising 45, 50, and 60 in some of those roads, and it wasn't even like, it wasn't like, oh, that's scary. It was like it was like just as smooth as this, if not smoother, honestly.
And I think 2 combines could pass.
Yeah.
They're like
super wide, white, like dirt. I don't know what the stone is up there, but it looks like they crushed a lot of that, put it on the road, and compacted almost like a cement, or kind of like shale does in Oklahoma, but even better because it was not breaking. Like barely any dust clouds, nothing.
Yeah, that was nice.
So we roll up there, about a half mile away. There was a stud in the ditch. He was crossing to go to Milo, which that should have first sign should have been that, and we'll get to that. He was crossing over, had more deer with him. I'm sure there's a few more bucks, but it happened so fast. I didn't have time to look, but I did see that one's rack, and I was like, oh yeah. So heart started pumping. I was like, we're on him. It's done. It's easy. Roll out there. As soon as we exit on the dirt road, another truck exit with us, and they literally follow us all the way to the pull in, and then pulled in, turned around, and left. So obviously they had either been there and seen this spot had deer, or thought the same thing I did.
Yeah.
And we hike in, get up on the hillside, and another thing, full moon, 100%. The brightest it was on that Wednesday.
Yeah.
We could see 100 yards easily, and like we were literally glassing before the sun came up.
It was bright.
Yeah. So we get up there, found some cedar trees, kind of just stood in glass, and instantly found deer.
Yeah.
Crazy thing about this spot, or let me give you a visual of this spot. It was alfalfa, then there was a big creek, and then the creek had, it looked like oak trees, and this mixture of this hardwoods. And then the other side was corn. And then there was a big draw that went up to, it was thicker than it looked like on Onyx. It was this thick, I don't know what.
Yeah, just real scrubby.
Yeah, just straight thickets. So I knew, I was like, all right, well, that's obviously going to be covered bedding, so we're good here. As soon as shooting light hits, boom, Dylan's like, deer right here. This deer comes out of this ditch and just runs. And she runs up to the cover, and I was like, well, that's weird. I wonder what happened. She's running, Don't really see just a deer pop out and run. Well, then another
like a spooked run.
Just like she was out for a speed walk.
Yeah.
Well, then the second deer comes out. It's about the same thing, but maybe a little slower. Like, that's the only difference. She was walking a little slower, but head down. Their tail kind of sticked out when they were doing it. It was funny how they, like, every single one would do that. And then after that, saw a few more do, exact same thing. Basically, they were walking a timber line into a ditch that we didn't know really what was going on for a while. But that ditch, it had to be 10 foot deep. Just a straight cut.
It just disappeared in there for like 2-3 minutes, and then pop out.
Yeah, and then pop out on one of those 3 fingers, and then just get across there. So we saw 7 does and a buck. Had a doe and a fawn pop out. He runs 20 yards to us. It was a laughing joke. That was because we wore a nose jammer, and ran straight to us. That's in the video. Got 20 yards, and then stood there looking around, circled back down, and ran across the alfalfa field. And so we right then there we're like, all right, we're gonna remember this spot, because if it comes late in the week, we want to shoot a doe. There's does here. Weren't seeing hardly any sign of bucks other than that little guy. Second night we go out to a soybean field. We found it. Super long, almost, I don't know, 3/4, if not a mile long.
Probably so.
We get back to the backside. It just makes a perfect teardrop in the timber, or a teardrop little circle. And the soybeans look just destroyed back there.
Yeah.
And then before that, I walked in when we got there, and I just kept walking because I didn't know how long this field was. I saw a doe out there, and it was like 1 o'clock, 1:30. So I was like, all right, boys, we're on here. So we hung out there, kind of took naps, just hung out, ate snacks, talking, and for like 2 or 3 hours. Then we got ready, went in, instantly go in there, there's a doe out eating. And so we had high hopes. Already seen 2 deer, and it was in the heat of the day. Place looked beautiful. 2 or 3 giant draws with nothing but thick timber covering it, coming right to the fields, a pond, everything you think of, a creek backed with corn.
It was a good setup where we were.
Yeah, we were tucked under shade under a cedar tree. we had everything in our favor. That was probably, when I was on that field, I had really high hopes, besides where we went the next day, but we'll get into that here in a second. Nothing after the doe until like 3 minutes before dark. Deer comes sprinting across. There was a coyote behind her. There was a coyote chasing her. It appeared so, but I couldn't say. I don't know if it's a coincidence, so it did look like a coyote was chasing her. 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, so that's 250 yards straight across in the west from us. And then all of a sudden from the south, a fawn comes hauling, just running by us, slobbering, gasping for air. There would stop, threw up this in front of us. Like, so right then and there, that was a dead giveaway that there's something going on here.
Yeah, it was a weird spot. Everything was weird about that spot.
Yeah. On the way out, Dylan found a big old nope rope that tried to rattle at him. And which, like I said, all this in the video, like, I really advise you to go watch the video. It's real cool.
Yeah.
But so we just had a lot of crazy experiences that day. That midday we did check out that morning spot, and we went in there, sign everywhere, rubs, or for the second morning. And I was like, all right, the wind's wrong tonight. We'll come here in the morning. And then we went to soybeans next day. So second day, morning 2, we went to it was a cornfield, huge draw, milo. The draw ran 1.5 miles. There was a pond in there, a stock tank that had water in it. I mean, everything looked great.
Heavy traffic.
Yeah. We walked up by the cornfield, which we couldn't cross and see, but it was private, but you could see the footprints from the rain. And then the area where you could see the routes they were using, and then you get to see where they've been eating, and it was just destroyed.
Yeah.
And so we were like, oh, this spot's it. Like, scrape or rubs, like, this is it.
Yeah.
Get in there the next day, get there early, get out on a point to overlook that main draw, but we can still see the cornfield, and we can see another little, like, couple of separate draws. It's like the main draw had just fingers everywhere down it. And so I was like, man, this is it. But they had to come up by us on the main one if they were going to use it, or there was a smaller one that could go up.
Yeah.
But we could see where that small one came up and went to the cornfield. So we glassed there. Probably saw 200 turkeys. I mean, if not more. There was 3 flocks, quail. I mean, everything you think of. And I was like, yeah, there's just wildlife here. Like, great area. See one deer. She comes out of the cornfield, hits that grass. Even on the big stuff, she just hightails it.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought about shooting her at one point, but even when I was getting set up, she came through an opening and just was through it.
Yeah, she was moving.
So I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, these deer are just traveling as fast as they can to get through this stuff. So that spot was another upset for me. Like, I really thought we would see deer there. I'm not saying, I know there's not a big deer behind every bush like people joke about in Kansas.
It just looked too good.
Yeah, it just looked too good not to have deer. I mean, they had, at that time, I didn't know, but they had 2 of their favorite things when the soybeans turned brown to eat at each end: cover, water. I mean, your ideal situation. So anyways, that hunt was a letdown. We walk out, there's a coyote. Dylan and Tyler see the coyote, tell me about it. I do a little kiss of death on my hand. That dude comes running in 10 yards, sees Dylan staring at him, stares at Dylan for a little bit, and then takes off. Like, that's on the video. We ran into a little horny toad. I mean, there was just animals everywhere.
Yeah, there's just a lot of wildlife.
And so, which at that point, I told him, I said, I'm fine with hunting every night, every day here. Like, you know, I was like, I still believe something's gonna cross through here.
Yeah.
But then it started ticking in my mind from there. We probably need to hug. Well, let's revert. Let's get away from that for a minute. That it kind of ticked my mind that we need to maybe hunt corn and milo. But then I hunted there, and it was like, well, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So then that night, So then we get back to the truck, and I'm like, hey, we're gonna drive. We're gonna go look at total new area. So we did. We covered a lot of ground. Found a soybean field. Had a big creek run through the middle that had huge oak trees dropping huge acorns already. Deer sign everywhere. The backside of that soybean field was corn. Once again, high hopes of seeing deer, because I know people that have gone up there and have seen 30 deer in a sit. I know people that have gone up there and seen 15 deer in a sit. I know the people that went with us, or that were up there at the same time, Christian and Peyton with Hunter's Advantage, like they saw 15 deer in a couple sits, you know. And it's like, so I knew the full moon was playing an effect on the deer movement, and then I all of a sudden I started ticking that the uncut corn and uncut milo was playing a full effect. So I was like, all right, let's see this spot. It has soybeans, acorns, and corn, like, and alfalfa across the street. So it's a buffet. Like,
yeah.
Whatever you want to eat, there it is. So we set up there. We were there for 20 minutes. Boom, a buck comes out. I was sitting there, and behind us is a creek. You can kind of see the corn. I see the corn just moving, getting closer. And I was like, Dylan, there's a deer walking through the corn. And it pops out. And if it's a doe or like a 120-inch deer, I'm probably going to shoot it just because, I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Why not?
Break the ice.
Yeah. Especially if it's a doe. If it's a 120-inch deer, I have to think about it. But, I also go back on that. My standards started dropping like 10 inches a day because we weren't seeing racks. We were just seeing little piddly things, which we were seeing deer. You can't complain on a place we've never seen, and every day we could have shot something.
We didn't have one single set where we got skunked.
Yeah. So, we're on the field. Sorry, my phone is telling me direction, or my watch is. So we're on the field. The buck comes out, and we're like, oh yeah, this will be good. Just hear a couple pheasant in the distances take off. And there's deer on the other side of the soybeans is blowing. So we're like, okay. So about 10 minutes left, we weren't seeing anything. The deer were still blowing over there. I was like, all right, let's get up and just sneak over there. Sneak over there, nothing. Oh, and walking in, there was bedding everywhere.
Yeah.
Bedding, big prints everywhere in the mud. Like, it's like, all right, we'll sneak over there and just come around the corner and see if we see anything. Come around the corner, boom, another deer.
Yeah. Another
little buck. So we saw 2 bucks there. By that time we got over there, I'm sure everything that was blowing, they just ran and left, or hit the corn. So after that, we leave. We went back to the truck. I had the grill with me, which was the smartest thing I've ever done, and will do every time I go anywhere now on a hunting trip. Took my little Tailgater Series pellet grill, but anyways, at that point, if we drove all the way back, we're gonna get back at like 11. So I didn't want to eat dinner at 11, so we cooked. A really neat thing, Dylan was like, whoa, look at that. And there's an orangish, reddish, like fire-looking color over the horizon. And then it ended up being the moon coming up. And it was just like a God-given painted picture. It was gorgeous watching it. I wish we had the camera set up to get it. But once we saw it and we started watching it, I feel like it was up in the air in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was just moving. You could almost just watch it moving. So that was fun. My truck is white, and when the moon came up, the side of the truck was just covered in moths. I don't know if they were having to hatch, if they migrate. Not a moth, had no idea any other than moths eat clothes. And I don't think they're that moths, but we were making jokes like, we better hurry and leave, or we're all going to be naked because they're going to eat her. They were everywhere. Like, we would hold the light on each other, like the phone light, while the other one wasn't paying attention. They were just getting clobbered by the moths. It was insane. I don't know why the moon was so red when it first came up, but once it got up a little higher, it just went back to like white, and it really lit the truck up.
Yeah.
And they were just dive bombing us.
Oh, they were everywhere. And so anyway, so we leave there, go, and I literally turn left and still walk in access, and all of a sudden on the other side of the road is an absolute stud. I'm going to say 150 because I'm going to be nice about it, but he was definitely probably bigger. Just your ideal Kansas monster. There he was. And he was catty cornered to that public, And what was he coming out of? Uncut corn.
Yeah.
So I saw that. I tried to flip around to show them because we literally just got in service. Our phones were dinging, so they were trying to, let everyone know we're fine. No, we didn't get anything.
And Pawnee just got smacked in the mouth.
Oh yeah, there's a huge storm in Pawnee. I don't know if it's a tornado or whatever they called it, the supercell deal.
Yeah.
It rolled over travel trailers at the lake, destroyed a lot of the trees at the lake, killed a guy that got crushed by his camper. Power out. I mean, there's literally fields over there with hay bales that were rolled across the hay field, up the hill for 100 yards. If you guys know how much a round bale of hay weighs, I mean, me and Dylan would be out of gas trying to push it out there, and it just rolled it like it's nothing. So Mother Nature really got to work out at it.
Yeah.
Let's take a break from this podcast and talk about some awesome products.
Hey folks, let me tell you about GritKnives. They're not just your average knife company. They're all about high quality, affordable, and unique products that'll make your outdoor adventures legendary. From limited edition pocket knives to rugged fixed blades and precision scalpels, they've got it all. Plus, their logo wear will have you repping the brand wherever you go. So whether you're out in the field or tackling everyday tasks, trust GritKnives to be your go-to for top-notch gear that won't break the bank.
Are you looking for some of the best sounding turkey calls on the market? Then look no farther than JAG Calls. Since 2022, Team OD has been using their calls and have had great success doing so. Two of my personal favorite calls are the Mother Clucker and the America. And I mean, if it has a name like that, it must be good. Check out JAG Calls, that's JAG Calls, out at jagcalls.com. Hey, and while you're at checkout, use OD 2024 for a discount. Once again, OD 2024 for your discount.
Now let's get back to today's episode.
So, see that stud? I tried to turn around, but it looked like there was a football game or something in town, a lot of traffic, so I'm sure he just jetted off. Monster, wide, tall tine, just beautiful, beautiful creature. I mean, it's what you think about when you think of Kansas. So we see him, and he came out of the corn. The first deer we saw, and the very first day, was coming out, or headed into the tall Milo. So I was like, all right, guys, we got to transition. Two of the biggest deer we've seen up here. One's a monster, one's huge. They're coming out of the corn of Milo. The deer we saw tonight coming out of the corn. Everything was leading up to all right. So that was Thursday night, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I was like, listen, Friday, I told him the whole trip, when it comes Friday, I'm just going to shoot something to break the ice. I just want it to be a doe. So Friday morning, the wind was great. Let's go back. We called it the OG spot that we saw the deer the first morning.
Yeah.
Go back in there, kind of cut around the corner to close the distance, where if those does came out of that cut, like we figured they would, it'd be 104 yards.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, not really seeing anything. Well, I guess we're on the field, and we thought they were going to work up the way they did. They didn't, of course.
That one busted us too, right when we sat down, just over to the left of us.
That came on the hill?
Yeah.
She didn't bust us. She was just standing there looking around.
Out of nowhere, it just appeared.
And then it was on this huge hill that we just walked on. And then she just goes behind us, never wins us. That's why I was like, I think she's going to bust us. And then nothing. All of a sudden, here they come across the field. 2 does and a little fawn. We thought they would circle up. No, they didn't. They disappeared. So I actually started trying to make a little move on them, but by the time I started scooching my butt down the hill to get the thicker cover, they started moving again.
Yeah, they just went right into the woods.
Yeah, so after that, the sun came up again, was in our face. We're like, we're gonna stick out. Let's get out here and go start glassing Milo and driving by corn to see if we can find areas that maybe they're coming out of the corn to go get water. And that's another thing. It was hot and dry. I kept saying, I was like, they're gonna have to drink. Let's go look for water too. So we made the transition. We started to leave. that was our game plan. Come around the corner, boom, there's a doe in this little cut. She was 350 yards. I closed the distance to 200. It was like 201, 203, somewhere in there. She's about to hit the timber. I pull up, put it on her. I shoot, smoke goes up, nothing's there. I figured I missed. I kind of had it free-handed because I was in the thicket, and my barrel wasn't over the trees, but my scope was, so I had to get on her, and I kind of raised it, held it on her, and shot. Of course, this Oklahoma boy was a little out of breath from the little hike down to her, but so I was a little shaky, but shot. You've seen the video. I like the cloud. I'm looking up at them like with this look on my face, and I know I missed. I come walking up the hill, and they were like, I was like, did I hit her? And they're like, you dropped her. And I turned around, and I could see her. So I broke the ice. We pack her out. Of course, I don't have a pack with the brace in it or the bracket. Tyler did, so he was helping hand there, and his eyes. He's used to glassing. He was picking stuff out that I couldn't see, and just having 3 eyes to find deer was easy. I mean, it made it easier for me because I was trying to shoot. Dylan videoed, Tyler videoed a little bit, but it was more glassing and just using his tools of what he came from Colorado from. And so, I mean, we had the ideal situation, I felt like, in our hands. So I shoot her, get her packed out. We were going to leave there and start driving again, but I was like, guys, I can tell y'all are tired. I'm exhausted. Let's just roll back, take a nap. There were some storms coming in. It was a little windy. I was like, let's just take a nap, and then we're going to go to our favorite little town. There are some areas around there that were really good. And glass the Milo midday a little bit, and then we'll try to find something when the rain pushes through and go hunt. So we went back, took a nap, and it took like an hour and a half, 2 hour nap. Get up, we feel refreshed, go back out. It was like 2 o'clock. Head out. This little town we were at was pretty cool. There was like 4 big hill ranges that like kind of led and went down, you know, to make valleys by this town, and right in the middle of those valleys was this town. Real pretty green. You could tell all the water went through the town. Another thing I want to touch on is we learned real fast everywhere up there was like 45 minutes to an hour away. Like, you just had to drive. Like, that's what everyone up there is used to, is driving. And so we literally covered, me and Dylan did the math on the way back, and I said it was like 400, but it ended up being like 642. 642 miles once we got up there, just back roads, and, you know, some highways to get to the back roads, but up there's like 3 main highways, and after that you got to take the dirt roads, which are really nice. Which I think we talked about that just a little bit ago, but anyways, so we go there, start driving. It's a little windy because the storms are, you know, building up, so I figured we could glass Milo and everything was moving, but if there's a nice deer, surely we could catch his rack, and it would be moving, like with the way the wind was. Did a little bit of that. I mean, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
It just would make you dizzy almost looking through the binos out there.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, well, we're not that lucky. So let's just keep driving till we find something. And lo and behold, we are driving around this random little cattle pasture. And we drove by once. I accidentally circled back because I got lost up there, and drove by it again, and then went down this little hill. Boom, Milo that like came down to a neck. That was private, but the walk-in was straight cattle pasture. It had a stock tank that had water in it, and then had a big pond around the corner. Well, there was an old like homestead looking deal that was fenced off, maybe 20 acres, maybe 10 to 20, somewhere in there. And it was 3 foot, 4 foot tall, little saplings everywhere. They fenced it off so the cattle couldn't get in.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
I got lost in there.
And it is highways from that thick stuff to the Milo.
Oh, there's a doe and fawn on the side of the road right there.
Oh yeah, and we literally drove by and a doe and a fawn were sitting there. Just came off the walk-in and headed to the Milo, and I was like, all right, boys, we found it. So we waited for a little shower. We caught the edge of the little storms. It was just like a 10, 15 minute shower. Since I had a muzzleloader, I didn't want to go in there, which this time it was like 6, and we needed to be in there really. And so it stops. We jump out. And mind you, we're only like 200 yards off the road once we set up, if not less.
Yeah.
And get in there. As soon as we topped the hill by that stock tank, because I was like, let's go see if there's tracks. Boom, 3 does. There they are. And I was like, all right. Well, they kind of didn't. They didn't run like scared with their tails up, but they kind of got out of there and ran right up to where we kind of thought the bedding would be. And I was like, yeah, all right, we're on it.
Yeah.
Walk up, can't find a place to sit because that area it's a slightly downhill grade, but then there's just saplings and that tall grass, so you couldn't see the other side. So we're kind of figuring a spot. Finally, I was like, we got to find a spot to sit down. Find a cedar tree that we can sit under, and I can look back and look at the water tank about 100 yards. And then, this setup was perfect for archery.
Yeah.
There's big trees along the creek. Well, some of the saplings had rubs all over them. So we were like, okay, like.
And it couldn't have been more opposite of what we've been sitting in the whole time.
100%. I mean, there was between a $10 bill and a $20 bill.
Yeah.
Like, 100% different. You know, Tyler was like, this is weird to me. This is like, which, yeah, you're in Kansas, you don't think that, but it's like, this is weird to me. Like, I can't really see. Like, straight across was like 120 yards, but you couldn't see straight across other than some cutouts between the saplings that hadn't grown together yet. So we're sitting there, kind of cool, a little bit of a breeze, dove flying everywhere. I mean, there was dove all over that state.
Yeah, there was. It was ridiculous.
Dove and turkeys, I mean, we saw a crap ton. Sitting there, all of a sudden, it was like, what, 7-ish?
Probably so.
7:15 maybe?
Yeah, probably so.
To the right, I see a little deer, and I look, see a little rack, I tell them, buck. And then I look, oh no, he was a little 8-point, and then a little spike comes out. And I was like, hey, there's 2 bucks in here, like, and we're like 75 yards. Can't see them. It's so thick. They're just in the sapling. You'll catch a glimpse of their heads, eating stuff. And then you'll catch their bodies coming out. Then they go behind more stuff. And long story short, a third one, I don't know how he got in there without us seeing him.
Yeah.
Comes in there, and he's the biggest one. Ends up being the one I shoot. That Dylan and Tyler are calling him out for me. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I don't even see this deer. And all of a sudden, here he is, 40 yards, walking up right at us. Yeah. I mean, right at us.
I mean, worked to us perfectly.
Yeah. And all I was like, Dylan, I'm shooting him, are you on him, are you on him? Boom. Rest is history. Couldn't find blood. We thought we saw him go down, but ended up being a big drop off. Mm-hmm. And
I was so pumped too.
Yeah.
I thought I watched him fall.
Which, yeah, we both did, honestly. Like, but it was just a big drop off. Couldn't find blood. You know, if you guys have hunted in grass, trying to find blood in grass is unreal. Because it has so much more stuff to hit.
Yeah, and it's 4 foot tall grass. It was ridiculous.
Couldn't find blood. And then so we kind of started grid searching a little bit. And I'm walking in the trees. Dylan's walking like 40 yards on the other side of Tyler. Tyler's walking between us. And all of a sudden, Tyler's like, got blood. And I mean, it was the most minute. Like, if you could get one single rice grain, cut it in half, and throw it on the ground, that's what he found with the headline.
Yeah, it was unbelievable that he found that.
Yeah, like, we didn't know what trail this thing took. Like, there was nothing giving us, but I knew he went that direction. So we were like, all right. So anyway, so he finds the blood. Of course, once we find a little one, it's like, here, more. Boom, there he was, you know, down in the ditch. Well, I was like 20 foot from him at one point. You couldn't see him down in that ditch because it's dark. And so we got it done. Super pumped. Celebrated, packed him out, caped him out. Has a really cool third main beam. Like I say, go look at pictures, go watch the video. I don't really need to give too many details about him, but smoke him, get him out. So that's Friday night. Saturday, I'm like, listen, it's supposed to storm all day. Let's just leave. It's going to be miserable. So we get out of there. So that was the whole Kansas trip rundown. I mean, I can't say much off my experiences, I'll say, but easily going to be one of my funnest trips. I mean, for a while, you know, just because we work together every day. I don't know, like I said, I can't tell you, I'm not saying like I'm better than anyone, but I've gone out of state 2 times, and my method has worked, is move until you find what you want. Like,
yeah, I think you got to be nomadic on something.
Yeah,
like
don't
that.
settle. Like, you know, like, there's times we can settle at places, like the first 2 things, like they're going to have deer, but they're going to have to harvest the corn of Milo, and then those places, I mean, Gunner goes back with a rifle, and he needs to be on a couple of those places.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, so that's what I did in Nebraska and found them, you know, like, we would find deer, but it's like, if you're not seeing the quantity or the quality or racks, get out of there. Like, that's what, you know, a lot of people are probably going to say no, but that's what's been working. So I was hyped to see it work again, because I have no other thing to use when I go out of state other than that right there.
I mean, that was just the coolest deal, watching those bucks come in. And, I mean, they couldn't have worked more perfect.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was, that right there is like why you keep at it, because like, we couldn't have asked for a pretty picture of how it happened. And like, if we were down and giving up, and because I mean, it was on the 3rd day, and we still had a full of 1.5 days left, or 1.5, we had 2 hunts, or 3 hunts left, I guess, because you had 2 mornings and evening, and we're gonna get out of there. And it's like, if we were giving up, like, and I also think, you know, there's a couple of days that we went back and took naps. I think that was crucial, because I know, well, if I get tired and can't keep up, then I get burned out. I start getting grumpy. And that's just no bueno on a trip when you got people there helping you, you know. And that's what I was grateful you guys got to come and be able to help. And I mean, I'm looking forward again to go do that somewhere else. Maybe this year, maybe not, but for sure next year. But yeah, it was, Kansas taught me a lot. It humbled me up from what people are seeing the year before to, you know, like, don't use that every time either for what you're gonna see. Because I mean, I was told people were seeing 15 to 30 deer hunt. We go up there, we're seeing 2 to 7, or 1. We saw one time, you know, and it's like,
and they're moving.
Yeah, so it's like, and the people that came down for archery, they end up just leaving, because they're like, yeah, this isn't what we're used to. Or, you know, they're not seeing what they wanted, and they come back, they have a while to hunt. We just had 2 weeks. And so yeah, it was, Kansas definitely humbled me a little bit on you know, what you hear about Kansas. Yeah, the deer there, but that time of year, like, the kicker is they're hiding. Like, they have so much to hide in. Now you get towards winter, when it's just grass and some wheat, they can't hide that much. I mean, we watched deer pile out of the corn of Milo throughout the whole trip. I mean, so yeah, it definitely humbled me on that aspect. But also, I've never shot a deer in September. Like, never ever.
Yeah, I've never messed with a deer when it was like that warm. I mean, it was pretty hot.
Yeah, what's super cool is that deer's eyelashes and like whiskers are just like super long.
Yeah,
and
like
a lot of
6 inches long.
Yeah, and they're everywhere. So that, I'm gonna mount him just for his cape and for the story and his 3rd main beam, but it was super cool to see that early season hide, because it was super pretty. But
healthy looking deer up there.
oh yeah, the fat on the meat when we were cutting them up.
That first doe that we saw the first morning, I seen her come out of that ditch, and I said buck. I was like, buck, because I never seen. It was just so huge. Yeah. She was like a donkey coming out of that ditch.
Yeah, that doe we ended up getting, I mean, she was a monster.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, you know, Oklahoma, you know, it's like the perspective down here, it's ag fields too, but we don't have near what Kansas and like Nebraska have when it comes to quantity and quality. Like, yeah, we have some in areas, but like, our deer, none of my deer have never just lived on the corn of Milo all summer and ate it and got fat. like they did. And I mean, I don't know if it's this because, I mean, I love deer. Like, I love venison. I love eating it. Or, I mean, one of the main reasons why I hunt, right? And I've ate their steaks like 3 times this week while Justice was gone on her trip. And dude, I don't know if it's this because the hunt or if it's actually because they've just been grain fed. I mean, it is awesome. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I ate some last night with you, and it was really good.
Not a hint of like that game taste that everyone complains about. Like even that buck, which he hasn't had his testosterone built up, hasn't been running and all that like most of our deer we shoot down here. And I mean, great meat quality. I love it. I'm like, I just want to go up there and shoot deer just to bring the meat home.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that trip, I mean, great trip. We've been back for 2 weeks, and I still just replay it in my head.
Yeah.
Watched the video that I edited myself probably 20 times. Like,
yeah, I just keep watching it since it came out. I just keep going back, and I don't know. Every time I watch it, it's like, oh, I forgot about that, and just see something that I forgot about every time.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Yeah, it was. Dylan ran the camera. Had never had a video camera experience like that. Did great. Caught all that video for me. Did great there. I mean, everything just worked out. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better scenario. Like,
yeah, the only thing that I wish I would have done better was when you shot that doe. It just scared me.
Well, that was all freehand, and you guys didn't know where I was. So.
Yeah.
But you know, that's another thing. If you want to talk about filming, like nothing's ever like we're not putting on a drama show. We can't do the scripts and write everything out. So it's like we don't know what's going to happen. So some hunts you get a lot of footage. Some hunts the first deer you see is the first deer you shoot. So it's not that great of videos or video quality.
Yeah.
And they're not that entertaining. But it's like the same thing when we go that. Like there's times that we won't be able to set up the tripod. That's what happened with that doe. Like it was just so fast. And
I mean, we were headed back to the truck.
Yeah.
Just seen her out feeding.
I definitely learned a lot. I think, Kansas, I hope I can draw out every other year, if not every year. Because, I mean, that place is beautiful.
Yeah, it was really cool. And it was really cool to go, like, I mean, not that far away from home and how different it was.
Yeah.
I mean, even, like, the fences up there were different.
We saw a fence, like, miles on miles of fence ran that were, like, probably 8 to 10 inch square rock posts. Like,
yeah, just rock.
And there was just piles out in the field of these rock posts, and they were definitely old. Sorry, my phone or my watch is just buzzing, but just miles and miles of these rocks. It's like, how in the world did they make this back? Because you can see where they repaired them with T-posts, but like, how did they get them in the ground one by one? They definitely didn't have a T-post driver.
Yeah.
Guarantee you that. And it's like, how did they make them? I mean,
they were just square, like sandstone or something. Which, I mean, where we saw all the rock posts, there wasn't really that much timber.
Yeah.
So, but it was rocky.
Yeah, so I feel sorry for whoever had to have that job. I mean, that was definitely a big job there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know I don't know. I'll probably be talking about Kansas when I have grandkids, telling them about that first trip. But I hope I go back there and do it again. I've always wanted to do archery, but man, I kind of like that muzzleloader season.
Yeah, the muzzleloader, it was pretty cool. I've never really cared for muzzleloader either. Just always had bad luck, but that gun, it was cool to see it work.
Yeah, I have a whole different outlook on muzzleloaders now. I mean, like I said, all that just boiled down from the lack of being behind one and shooting. Because me, as growing up, we're just your average hunters. You go shoot your muzzleloader, no week before season, get it sighted in. You might get it an inch or two high. Hey, call it good, go home.
Yeah.
And deer and rifle 2 weeks before season, or when you're shooting your muzzleloader, take your rifle, shoot it. If it's shooting what you consider good, guess what? You put it back in, and you go home. Like, and that's what I've had to break myself growing up. Like, archery, you have to shoot year round for archery to be good. Like, I mean, you know, a lot of people might be like, no, you can shoot. But if you want to know your bow, muscle memory, everything, and have a routine, you got to legit shoot it year round. I'm not saying every day, but weekly, you know, you just have to. Like, I think it's, I don't know, it's a different concept. Everything there is muscle memory and building muscle. When it comes to guns, you know, if you just shoot them and get comfortable with them, which I like to shoot my guns. I just like to go out and shoot distance and all that. So I pretty much know my guns. The only one I didn't know was a muzzleloader. But now I'd like to test it. I had a guy tell me about some different stuff to try, and I might try it, might not. I mean, what I had worked. I mean, it destroyed every deer. Dropped that doe at 200 yards. That buck didn't make it 80 yards. Like, he was a dead deer running. I mean, he was quartering at us or to us, and I definitely hit long and down into his guts. Like,
I mean, you could have made that shot with the bow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I mean, he came in our lap.
So yeah, it was overall Kansas. I know I probably repeated 100 times, but Kansas was great. Like, I mean, I love that state. Hopefully knock off a couple more hunts off my list. But I told Dylan a little bit ago, like, bucket list is shooting a mature buck either in all the states that have whitetail, which I know sometimes that'd be hard for numbers, but definitely for the states that are known for whitetail hunting. You know, and that's kind of what I want to do. Like, yeah, I want to go west and hunt. And I'm sure once I go, I'll fall in love. But man, whitetail just, I don't know what it is, but I have a huge passion for whitetail.
Oh yeah, I love them.
Just outsmarting them, getting in places you don't know, finding them. Like,
that's like watching them.
Yeah.
I could watch them all day.
Yeah, that's why I have a camera, just because I can watch them, video them, and go replay it all in my head, and hopefully it gets to make a good video.
Yeah.
But so we're back Oklahoma. I'm gonna try to get my 2 tags filled. I've never tagged out in Oklahoma with 2 mature bucks. Gonna try to do it this year. Have the chance to. Went last night for the first time. This is October 4th, first time of the year. Season opened the 1st. Have an old buck that was coming in. They outsmarted me last night. Had a thing happen that scared them off. It wasn't my fault. It was a neighbor deal, but I don't know if my neighbors listen to this or not. So I don't want to say which one or anything. And them get mad, because I mean, they were doing what they needed to do for their livelihood. So I'm not mad at that. It's just part of it. The deer was in all last night. Wasn't there this morning. I sure hope, you know, he didn't get crazy. The only thing that's a little upsetting is this possibly has a chance to be the same deer that passed last year that I thought would be a giant, and he's lost like 50 inches. I don't know if he got injured. I don't think it's because I overestimate or underestimate him on age, but even after a year, he shouldn't have went down this bad. But so I don't know. It might be another deal. He has a double throat patch. I don't remember that last year. So I don't know. I might shoot him. I might let Justin shoot him. If he comes out one there, he's going to be shot. Just because he's old, and that's what. He's not definitely going to be a high scorer, but he has a lot of crazy little unique points popping out everywhere. So that would be cool. But part of it, not every deer is going to be a giant, and not every deer is going to grow every year.
So they'll all feed you.
Yeah. Yep. They all make some good jerky and good back straps. So yeah, that's what I just got done making. Probably 20-ish pounds of jerky, maybe 10. It had to be more than that, because that dehydrator's big and it's ran twice. So probably 20 pounds, and then I got another 10 pounds when I got home. Then I probably have another 30 in the freezer. I'll make jerky, and then I'll be eating that steak up because it's delicious. And I'll be upset when that goes away. So, you know, what
motivates you to kill some more?
Yeah, we're gonna go out to some public, put up some cameras, try to. Where I moved, there's a lot of public. Dylan's going to be down there in the next year and a half, hopefully before then. And we're going to start hunting public a little bit together off my boat. We're going to try to dive in and figure out where these deer are, and see if we can do that. I don't know. Public's a different animal. Every year that I dive into it, I find decent deer, then I have a big one show up on my private pieces, so it's like hard to go back to public, especially when you're sitting there and someone comes walking through at like prime time. It doesn't even care that they see you, so it's like crazy on camera yet. It's still early. My one place has a bunch of corn down in the bottoms, and they're going to harvest that. And usually when they harvest that, the deer push more inland. We'll be one of the only major feeding sources when they get pushed in, due to the amount of food plots we have until the corn pops up back in the bottom. So right around rut should be great if we get a little bit more rain and pop my food plots up a little more. My other spot, man, I had 5 or 6 deer last year in there that I saw and have videos of that I figured one come back and be huge. I have nothing yet, but before the last 2 years I've been spoiled. They've been on me right as I, start my cameras and all that. This year they probably had to go find food a little more because it was a little dry for a little bit, so they probably got pushed somewhere. And then so the years before, it wasn't until mid-October when I got my first big one there. So I'm hoping that's the case. I've been lucky. Maybe I might not even see a big deer in there this year, but I have all the does. Nothing's changed other than people have moved in around there. The people before them were an old couple that traveled, so there was never noise. These people have some kids. I don't think that would change it because they're adapt real easily to that stuff. No, I'm gonna stick to it. If I do tag out, I'm taking the idea to run it to Arkansas or Missouri. But I don't know. That might have to wait.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my plan for this year. I know Dylan picked up the new place done by him, so him and his brother have been after on that spot.
Yeah.
Got some pretty big deer on camera there. So hopefully capitalize on that.
It's a pretty cool place.
Then we're gonna get together and do some catfishing videos, so that'll be great for y'all to see. We're gonna definitely make it a priority to video. Last year we're just trying to learn the place, but we were slaying them. And then we're gonna do some predator hunting like we did last year, and hopefully by then I'll have a video camera. That's not my Sony, so I don't have to use 2 hands on it. We can get some good quality predator hunts in. If they happen anything like they did last year, you will not want to miss those videos. It was action packed.
Got into it.
So it was definitely a blessed year on that aspect.
Yeah, it was a good predator season.
So yeah, we're gonna get after it. Thanks for watching this episode. Hopefully I'll get Dylan on here more once we get together and do some more stuff and talk about it, or tell some stories about growing up. Me and Dylan did grow up before we were a family. We grew up as neighbors. I pretty much lived at their house during the week, hanging out, and so it's kind of cool to be able to spend all these times now as family.
Yeah, come full circle.
Yeah, so we're definitely get together more and do stuff like that. And I'm not crying, I'm wiping my eye. But definitely do a lot more videoing this year since we both kind of know how to run it. I'm kind of getting the setup built. So yeah, that's kind of it for this episode. Thanks for watching us. Hopefully the background noise isn't too loud. I'll try to get it fixed if it is, but there might be a little bit, so just I guess deal with it. And if you can't, I'm sorry, but go watch the video. It's on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't. If you like the video or dislike it, let us know in the comments on the video, because that will push it more, so that'd be huge for us. We're trying to grow YouTube. YouTube's been the slowest one for us, but it's also been the quality and the low volume of videos we put up. The podcast has helped a lot, but I think during hunting season, it might have to go to every other week, just because me and Gunnar are trying to get deer on film. That's because what we're doing is that, and everyone else is too, so it's hard to make schedules work because everyone's hunting. So it might go every other week, I don't know. It might just be random, so look out for that. And then the next 3 guests we have, I think you guys will really enjoy. They killed some big deer. They have a huge background or a couple of them have a big background in the hunting industry, so it'd be cool to get to talk to them. So
They got them.
but as for now, peace out. Catch you guys next time. It's our cool sheriff truck.